Okay, today we're going to talk about pronoun usage. And the first thing I wanted to discuss is the difference between subject case pronouns, and these are the pronouns that can be subjects of sentences, and we have first, second, third person singular pronouns, and then we have first, second, third person plural pronouns. So in reference to your essays and your reading responses, they are primarily in third person point of view. Now for your diagnostic essay and for essay number 1, which you will be writing next week, you will be using first person point of view, and that would be I, me, and my as in possessive pronouns. The reason I'm telling you this is that you want to make sure that you are using the appropriate pronouns to convey point of view. You use first person point of view when you're talking about personal experiences. You give second person point of view when you're giving directions or a command, and third person point of view when the emphasis is placed on the subject. So these are the only pronouns that you can use that will be subjects of sentences and clauses. The second list is a group of pronouns that act as the objects of the sentence or the clause. And as you can see, you have you and it in both lists. So you and it are the only two pronouns that can be both object case and subject case. And just for future reference, the majority of the essays that you're going to write in English 101 will be in third person point of view, singular and plural. Okay? For the diagnostic essay, you're using first person singular, first person plural, first person singular, and plural using object case pronouns. So you want to make sure that you're using your pronouns effectively. Now, possessive case pronouns, they show possession, and they do not require apostrophes. Okay? So I just wanted you to have an idea what I mean by point of view. Now, using pronouns really isn't an issue because you use them effectively when you speak. Now I want you to be careful in using pronouns when you're writing to make sure that you are practicing using pronoun agreement. So, indefinite pronouns, let's look at those. Anyone, everyone, everybody, nobody, no one, and somebody. They appear to be singular. They appear to be plural, but they are actually singular. Okay? So, if you've ever identified an indefinite pronoun as plural, don't feel too badly about it. They look like they're plural, but they're actually singular. Now, there are some indefinite pronouns that are both singular and plural. Some, any, all, none, and most. So when you see those, know that they can be both singular and plural depending on the noun that it is referencing. So why do we use pronouns? We use pronouns to avoid unnecessary usage of the same noun. So here is an example. Stuart went to class with Stuart's paper, so Stuart can earn a passing grade. It's grammatically correct, but it seems really repetitive. So let's look at it where we actually use pronouns to prevent having such repetition. Stuart went to class with his paper so he could earn a passing grade. And as you can see, we have the possessive case Stuart's paper replaced with the possessive pronoun his. And then we have Stuart who's acting as the subject of this clause. We replace that Stuart with a subject case pronoun he. So what if we have compound subjects? The same rule applies. Although DJ, Precious, and Darius are great kids, DJ, Precious, and Darius like to break the rules every now and then. Which makes DJ's, Precious's, and Darius's allowance fewer dollars. So if we want to replace that, we're going to use the same methodology. Although DJ, Precious, and Darius are great kids, now we have a subject of a clause, and so we're replacing DJ, Precious, and Darius with the third person plural subject case pronoun they, like to break the rules, which makes their, and so instead of using the compound, DJ's, Precious's, and Darius's, we can replace that compound with just the third person possessive case pronoun their, which is plural. Okay, great. Let's move on. So you probably are hearing me use the term antecedent. Antecedent is the term that we use for the nouns that the pronoun is referencing. So here's an example. Dr. Stovall will teach her students the proper method to use pronouns. So Dr. Stovall is the antecedent, and her, which is showing possession, is in reference to Dr. Stovall. That's the pronoun. Okay, so antecedents and the pronouns they reference must agree. So if I have a singular antecedent, I must have a singular antecedent, I must have a singular pronoun to reference it. If I have a plural antecedent, I have to have a plural pronoun to reference it. And I think that's pretty understandable. Everyone gets that. Well, let's see what the problem is. The first problem that I detected is that when people are using indefinite pronouns, sometimes they treat an indefinite pronoun as if it were plural, and it is not. In the case here, everyone in the class needs to bring their essay to class. Well, everyone is singular, and because it is singular, we cannot use a plural possessive pronoun to reference this indefinite pronoun. What we should use for indefinite pronouns only, everyone in the class needs to bring his or her essay to class. We're using his or her because it is indefinite. We don't know who we're talking about. Okay, so whenever you're using an indefinite pronoun and you're using a pronoun to reference it, if it's a subject case pronoun, it would be he or she. Okay, all right. For the pronouns that can be both singular and plural, we'll have to check the object of the prepositional phrase to determine is the pronoun acting as a singular antecedent or acting as a plural antecedent. Now, for those of you who've been introduced to prepositions, prepositions are the words that we use to identify where something is. They modify verbs and nouns. So any place my puppy Duchess can go, up, down, around, in, out, with, to, from, above, beneath, is a preposition. So the first word in a prepositional phrase is the preposition. Then we have an article, and the noun that follows is called the object of the preposition. If that noun is singular, then the indefinite pronoun is acting as a singular antecedent. In this case, we have a plural noun, so that means some is acting as a plural antecedent, and thus we need a plural possessive pronoun to reference it. So some of the students in the class want to leave their books with a friend. Conversely, if we have a singular object of the prepositional phrase, some of the food is acting as a singular antecedent, which tells me that some is acting as a singular subject, so it has to be paired with a singular object case pronoun its. Okay, all right, let's keep going because I only have a little bit of time left. Compound antecedents. When you join two nouns together with the conjunction and, it is plural, which means we must use a plural possessive pronoun or a plural pronoun to reference it. If the conjunction is either or, neither nor, then we have to use a different rule. Okay? When using either or, neither nor, make the pronoun agree with the nearest antecedent. If the nearest antecedent is singular, then use the singular pronoun. If the nearest antecedent is plural, then use the plural pronoun. It seems kind of confusing, but let's look at the example. Neither the student nor the teacher, singular, and since teacher is closest to the pronoun, these two must agree. Wants to bring her book to class. Let's switch them. Neither the teacher, singular, nor the students, now we're plural. Notice the pronoun. It must agree here. Okay, can you see that? All right, let's move on to the last one. Collective nouns. I love collective nouns because collective nouns come in two categories. They come in nouns that represent a group as a unit. Okay, we have army, audience, jury, committee, crowd, class, etc. They name a group as a unit, and so therefore it's singular. The class gave its teacher a gift because class is acting as a unit of one. However, if the collective noun is acting as a group of individuals, then it is plural. The class decided to fill their notebooks with cartoons. Well, Dr. Stovall, how would I know the difference? Well, there's a very simple trick. If I can replace the collective pronoun with it, and the sentence still makes sense, then it's singular. If I can replace the collective pronoun with the collective noun with the pronoun they, and it still makes sense, then it's plural. Okay, so you have to determine, is it acting as an it? And if it's an it, then it's acting as a unit of one, which is a singular collective pronoun. And so you want to make sure you pair it with a singular pronoun. Okay, if it's acting as a group of individuals, then it's plural, and therefore you must pair it with a plural pronoun. Okay, and that ends our brief discussion on pronoun usage and point of view. If you have further questions, please contact me. Thank you.